Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and on today's video we're going to take a look at an excellent cooler for those of you looking for a little bit of water cooling in your system but don't want to spend an absolute fortune on it. This is the Thermalright Aqua Elite V6. This is the 360 version. There's also a 240mm version as well, should that be of interest to you, and I think there's actually a 120 as well, but I would probably avoid that one. This essentially is an upgrade to the V3 and also the previous V4 models. The V4 wasn't very popular, didn't last on the market very long. The V3 is still available and it's basically the same price in general. Originally when this came out it was around about £10 to £15 more expensive than the V3 model, and there are some significant differences between them in terms of the fans, the new improved pump, and basically just the way it all goes together. So essentially this is the way to go. If you're looking between the V3 and the V6, this essentially is the better version. So when it comes to the fans, we've still got 120mm fans, but these have got a new fan design which looks like it's been very much borrowed from Arctic cooling. So you've got the edges on the fans there just to keep the pressure in and force it through the radiator. And in fact these fans do look very much like the Arctic P12s, although these do actually spin the same speed, 2000 RPM up to. Minimum speed on the Arctics down to 200 RPM. These go down to 400 RPM, so very close in that regard. But in terms of static pressure and actually the amount of air these move, these are actually higher quality, or at least higher performing anyway. Potentially they won't get quite as quiet, but for the money, obviously, if you're buying 3 P12 fans, the ARGB ones, you're looking around about £25–30 here in the UK. You get all of this, the AIO, the whole lot, for around about £50 at the moment at the time of recording, which is December 2025. Another key difference is the actual pump. So we've got an updated pump which now has a faster impeller. So this now spins at 2800. I think the previous one was about 2400. So a little bit of an improvement on that. So overall you should see a slight improvement in performance. Now realistically the differences between the two are going to be very similar. I am actually going to be doing testing with this against the V3, which is currently in my Intel system running a 265K, so we will be doing some tests on that. That isn't going to be in this video. There will be follow-up videos on this, possibly on the installation for Intel sockets, and also there'll be a separate video showing you how to install this on AMD systems. So if you want information on either of those, check out the video description and those should be there. This video is just like an introduction and an unboxing so you can see what you get and just an overview of the product itself. So taking a look at the packaging, it's a quite nice retail packaging, a little bit different from their previous models. So this is the Aqua Elite 360 V6 ARGB in black. There are also white versions as well, albeit those do seem a little bit rarer on the market. As you can see in the top corner there, so it supports ARGB and also supports the latest Intel Core Ultra 200 series, and also supports the Ryzen 9000 series straight out of the box. On the back of the box it's got some of the specs for the water block, the radiator, compatibility, and also the fans. So as you can see there, for the water block you're looking at 2800 RPM. It is PWM, so you can reduce it should you wish to, and it also has 5V addressable ARGB. The radiator measures in at 397 by 120 by 27mm, and in terms of compatibility, AM4 AM5, LGA 1200, 11.5X, 1700 and 1851. For the actual fan, the new TL-N12s RSS, these are 120 by 120 by 25mm, 2000 RPM, give or take 10% max, and these move 62.32 CFM and have 2.54 H2O max and a noise level of 28.8 dBA. These are also 4-pin PWM and have 5V addressable ARGB. Now before we take a close look at the radiator itself, we'll take a look at the included accessories. So in the accessories box, in terms of universal items, there is a PWM splitter, which actually you don't need because these fans daisy chain, but it is in there as an option. If you, for some reason you don't want to daisy chain them, a little bit of a waste really, but it's there if you need to use it. It also comes with a tube of TF7 thermal compound. Personally, I prefer TF4, a little bit easier to use. This is a little bit thicker and requires a little bit more dexterity when installing. It's a very thick paste. Obviously you can use your own if you want to, but it's nice that there is actually some included. Also, you get a pack of small screws. Those are for attaching the radiator to your PC case. And of course there is a user guide with nice pictures and instructions telling you how everything goes together. But again, don't worry, we are going to have videos on that coming up shortly. Now when it comes to mounting this to an Intel system, so you get a pair of Intel brackets to put onto your CPU. Also, there is a backplate included because obviously Intel boards generally don't have a backplate. This is adjustable on the back, so you just move the arms in or out depending on the size of your socket. And also there's some adhesive strips there to attach this to the back of your motherboard should you wish to hold it in place if you're doing a vertical mounting. If you've got it horizontally, then you should be absolutely fine. Just a little bit of pressure behind it will hold it in place quite easily. Also, you've got the 4 mounting screws for the Intel setup, and there are some color-coded spacers. So if you're using the newer LGA 1700 or 1851, or potentially what is coming next, I think it's 1940 something or other, those are going to be okay for that. And if you're using some slightly older stuff, so you've got the Intel LGA 115X and also the LGA 1200, those are the black color-coded ones. Things are a little bit easier on the AMD side of the fence, whether it be AM4 or AM5. So you get a pair of metal brackets. Those will go over the existing brackets which are actually on the motherboard. So AM4, you'll use the AM4 backplate, which is removable. It generally falls off down the back of your system while you're undoing it. For AM5, it's nice and secure, so you have to basically undo the 4 screws, take off the plastic bits off the top and replace them with these pink spacers for both AM4 and AM5. And then you've got 4 screws. All of this is nice and clearly labeled up, so there's no problems there. It's very easy to manage what you need to do for your particular setups. Again, there will be some detailed videos on both of the platforms, both Intel and AMD. So if you've got any problems or any questions or you just want to see how it's done, videos will be listed in the video description. So now we'll take a look at the actual radiator itself, the fans, the tubes, and also the pump head. So we'll start off with the pump head. So the pump head, as you're probably seeing from some B-roll, actually has addressable RGB. It is based somewhat on the BBS design of car wheels in the automotive industry. Whether or not you like that, I'm not entirely keen on it. I would have preferred a little bit, maybe a more muted design, a bit plainer possibly. It is what it is, I guess, but the lighting on there is excellent, and that is provided via a 3-pin 5-volt addressable ARGB header. It's also got a pass-through as well, so you can daisy chain that if you wanted to. And when it comes to connecting this up to your motherboard, you'll connect this to a pump header on your board, and it uses a 4-pin PWM. Again, maximum rotational speed of the Impeller is 2800 RPM, so a little bit of a step up from the 23 to 2400 that we had on the V3 model. When it comes to the tubes here are 400mm from the very start, so basically from the radiator right to the very end there, where the tubes go into the pump itself. We've got this nice braiding on there as well, and they're relatively flexible. And of course, being that this is somewhat symmetrical, then you can mount it either kind of one way round or the other. So if you want to have a twist in your tubes, you can do. If you're stretching it across, it should be absolutely fine. So yeah, no problems there. And that takes us around to the radiator itself. So again, this is the 360mm version. Measurements for the radiator, so we're looking at 397mm from top to toe. Obviously across it's going to be 120, the same as the fans, and in terms of depth we're looking at 27mm. You do have these 3 nice fans included, which is the new upgraded versions, which again do look very similar to the Arctic P12 ARGBs. Very similar technology as well, and also they have the pass-through design. So for the PWM, you have the male and the female, so you can daisy chain them along. So it's very simple to do. So you just grab the male, plug it into the female for the next fan along, grab the next one, and so on and so forth. So that goes into there, and then that one would then plug into your CPU fan header. Very straightforward to do, a little bit easier to cable manage as well. And of course the same can be said for the ARGB. So again, you've got the male and the female, so just pull off the cap on the end, and then you can plug that into the subsequent connector and daisy chain them along. So you've got basically one connector going into your motherboard and one connector going into your ARGB controller, or possibly on your motherboard as well, depending on what your setup's going to be. So yeah, very nice. Would have been better, obviously, if the fans were daisy chained internally. That would have made life a lot easier, but that generally does add to the expense. So I think they've made the right decision there. And also in terms of flexibility. So if, say, for instance, one of the fans fails at some point, you can quite easily replace the fan on its own rather than have to worry about replacing all 3 at the same time. again, pretty decent setup. I like it. The fans themselves actually look really nice. This was something I liked about the Arctic Freezer 3, and I think the Freezer 2 had them as well, very similar design. So yeah, nice fans. These spin up to 2000 RPM. Again, these actually push through more air and have more static pressure than the Arctic P12s. Not quite as much as the P12 Pros, but again, those are a little bit more expensive again, but potentially if you want to squeeze a little bit more cooling performance out of this radiator, there's no reason why you can't take these fans off at some point in the future and replace them with some Arctic P12 Pros, or noctua fans if you want to. Whatever you want to do is very easy to do. There's nothing which is specific to the brand here, so it's all reasonably interchangeable, should that be something that you want to do. But yeah, overall, I think for the asking price of this, generally it's about the same price as the V3 and potentially the V4s, if you can still find those about. The V4 seems to have been phased out completely. The V3s are still very popular on Amazon, the V6s also. So ultimately it's going to come down to essentially the cooling performance. I think this will have a very slight edge on it due to the upgraded fans and possibly because of the faster water flow in the pump itself. But if you're on the fence and you're not too sure which one to go for, I think it's going to come down to a cosmetic thing. Obviously, if you've got a PC and you want to match up all the fans and you're using maybe Arctic P12s for your intake and exhaust fans, then this will blend very nicely with it. So you won't need to necessarily get an Arctic Freezer 3 cooler to keep in with that same kind of look. Alternatively, if you've got maybe another case, like for me, I've got the Lianli V100 and the Thermalright Aqua Elite V3 fans are basically exactly the same as the Lianli fans, so that matches up really nicely. So again, this is going to come down to more of a cosmetic thing rather than a performance thing. I dare say this is going to be slightly quieter as well, due to the ring on the outside edge of the fans, which cuts down on some of that turbulence. But ultimately, I don't think you can go too far wrong with either one, so either the V3 or the V6. My suggestion would be is to check pricing locally to you, and of course you can do that from our affiliated links in the video description. Check out the prices, see what works best for you, and yeah, take it from there. So if you've got any comments or questions about this particular cooler or anything you want to see me test with it, then please do let me know in the comments section below. Obviously, again, if you want to see how to install this on either the Intel or AMD platforms, then do check out the links in the video description and see how those videos all go together. But I think that's going to pretty much wrap this one up. I think this is an excellent product. Hopefully you do too. If you do, let us know in that comment section as always. And obviously, if you like this video, leave a like. If you want to see more content like this on a daily basis, maybe consider hitting the subscribe button. And also, if you do, don't forget to hit the chime notification. That way you'll be notified of future video releases. But for now, I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To. And hopefully, we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.